Oh, the conversation has been started, and it needs to come to PWTB. Should Mike Tomlin's seat be hot, and should he be fired if the Steelers don't make the playoffs after this year?
So,
Evan?
yeah, with the Steelers, it's a very interesting conversation, right? Because Mike Tomlin has been there forever. He's been there since 2007. If he did have a losing
Mm,
season, which by the way is not for sure, the Steelers are 7-7 right now. But if they do, that'd be Tomlin's first losing season ever, and this is his 17th year coaching. So you got to keep that in mind. Yes, expectations have been underperformed. The Steelers have not really been a contender since 2020. That's 3 years ago. That's not the Steelers standard, right? But there's a bigger problem than Mike Tomlin. And you can, question Mike Tomlin's what like maybe his decision making or I know they've had the rotating carousel of quarterbacks over there since Pickett's went out. You can question all that, right? But to me, it comes down to talent. I mean, the wide receiver depth, Deontay Johnson is a prima donna. Outside of that, what's his name? Pickens, George Pickens, right, Jake?
yes.
Yeah, he's pretty solid, but like everyone else, Najee Harris is not looking like he was supposed to. It's year three now. I know Warren is kind of a good running back, and then the defense still has some studs, but still the Steeler current defense, right? But overall, it's just not a really talented team. Even if they had a quarterback, I would not be confident that they'd go to the Super Bowl. So, I hear a lot of people saying Ben Roethlisberger masked a lot of Tomlin's things. I don't think that's fair at all. I think Tomlin has been a pretty great coach. I still think he's a pretty decent coach. There is the case that sometimes you just get like tired of the same scenery. Obviously, a great example of that is Andy Reid with the Eagles. He was good there, but he was there 14 years. It got a little stale. He had to move somewhere else. Maybe that's for Tomlin. I don't know. But the bigger problem is general managing. It's, these teams, and the Steelers are a team, they don't like to change a lot. They don't like to go out to the big names. And is that sustainable in today's NFL? The Packers are kind of struggling with that right now. The Patriots, who just have Belichick as their GM, are kind of struggling with that now. And the Steelers are struggling with that right now. So what might have worked 10 years ago, where you just have minimal signings and hit great in the draft, it might not work anymore. But
Oh,
Jake,
yeah. Yeah, definitely might not work anymore. And I think, Mike Tomlin's seat is hot right now. I think he could be fired at the end of the year if Steelers have a losing season. Evan, but you brought up the quarterback carousel ever since Kenny Pickett went down, going from Mr. Trubisky to Mason Rudolph, back to Trubisky, back to Rudolph. Um, I think that, think this really, I don't think the quarterback carousel really matters if you're talking about Mike Tomlin. I think if Mike Tomlin doesn't meet expectations, you mentioned this. This is his 17th year of coaching. I think that, you have to have a serious conversation about firing Mike Tomlin at the end of the season, looking for a new head coach and looking for wide receivers to help out, your boy. Can you pick it back there?
yeah, and I think like who should start Mason Rudolph or Mitchell Trubisky or even Kenny Pickett. And I like Kenny Pickett. I think it's only his second year. He's not worldly great. He's actually struggled a little bit, but it's way too early to know for him. But the Trubisky, Rudolph, it's just shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic, right? Like it's we already know what's going to happen. I mean, Mason Rudolph is not a good quarterback. He's a good backup, but he's an okay backup, I guess. But tomorrow, if people are thinking it's going to be worldly different for the Steelers, no, the Steelers are only going to win tomorrow if their defense shows up, not because of Mason Rudolph. It'll be because Mason Rudolph throws as little passes as possible. They get it out to their running backs, and the defense plays good. But so no, anyone getting on Tomlin because of that, that's totally general managing. So in conclusion, though, I do think Tomlin's seat should be a little warm, maybe a little toasty, but not quite hot. Not quite hot.
Extra toasty, right?
Extra, no, not
Like the
extra
Cheez-Its?
toasty. No, that's
Like the
that's more
Cheez-Its?
like the cheese. It's maybe maybe that might be your boy in Arthur Smith in Atlanta. We talked about that already. Extra
Yeah.
toasty for him. What?
Arthur Smith, I believe, is a little bit more than extra toasty.